Cedar Point, located in Sandusky, Ohio, is often known as the roller coaster capital of the world. With the addition of Wild Mouse, a small family coaster, some are questioning if this resets the coastal or ride timer for the park. Well, I think Cedar Point 2024 will be one of the biggest years for the park. After the dead years of 2020 and 2021, Cedar Point needs a big year. These are my predictions for Cedar Point 2024. Let's start with everyone's concern. I made a video last week about Dragster, so make sure to check that out. But will Dragster remain open? With the removal of the launch system and the race car, many are concerning the future. But I think the ride will remain open. The launch system is simply a replacement. After the cable remained dormant for a year, it needs replacing. And the removal of the theming is most likely part of the queue reroute or digging for new wires. This is also the reason for all of the markers. But what if the markers are also for a new addition? We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. So if Dragster is open, where would the location be for this new ride? Let's dive into where this new addition will be. Whenever a new ride opens at Cedar Point or in Cedar Fair in general, a new area comes with it. Take the Boardwalk, or Copperhead Strike with Blue Ridge Junction, or even Area 72 with Orion. This has been happening for years now, so with Dragster reopening, I believe that this section near Dragster will be upgraded. Now this doesn't mean a whole new area of the park. It very well could be, but I doubt it. I believe that this will just be an upgrade of the section, with a new restaurant and attraction. If Cedar Fair really wants to upgrade this area, I could picture them doing new pavers similar to the underground at Magic Mountain. Theme it to a road or speedway, which would fit the Dragster theme incredibly well. The new ride can even be themed to a runway or speedy vehicle. We'll get into that in a minute. This whole section also is in desperate need of a facelift. Everywhere else in the park looks great. It's only this section that is really bad right now. I feel like the next upgrade will be Millennium Midway, but Frontier Town, Marina Midway, Lakeside Midway, and Gemini Midway all look great. It's only the Dragster area, which doesn't even have a name. I could picture a name like the Speedway or some other cheesy park name. It would be great to bring life back into this section of the park. Also, this would finally bring something interesting in that bland area between Magnum and Dragster, where the only thing there is a guardrail and empty walkway. Unfortunately, to make room for their 2024 expansion, Cedar Point would need to remove a classic. This ride would be Corkscrew. Corkscrew has the lowest ridership of any ride in the park, and you can hear how much people dislike this ride on the exit ramp. I would be surprised if Cedar Point didn't already know this, and while I hate to see it go, it would make most sense in the park. But some of my predictions can preserve those iconic corkscrews. Actually, Cedar Point might be able to keep the corkscrews like Alton Towers did with their corkscrew coaster. Corkscrew actually leaves a lot of land, and with the relocation of Scrambler and Matterhorn, this leaves a big enough area with the empty plot by Dragster, Corkscrew, and the Flats. Now let's get into the rides. I feel that Cedar Point is missing a good flippy flat ride. Cedar Point got rid of Witch's Wheel in 2018, and they have had that gap ever since. If Cedar Point added a flippy ride like Air Race, or even a ride like Skyhawk at Canada's Wonderland, their flat ride lineup would be top notch. They can even title it something such as Takeoff, or something aviation or speed related. I also measured the area of Skyhawk at Canada's Wonderland on Google Earth, and the empty area by Power Tower and under Corkscrew. Even something like Meteor at Dorney Park, a ride that has hang time or a ride that flips like Skyhawk and Soaring Timbers would be perfect in Cedar Point's excellent flat ride lineup. But that isn't all. Let's talk the big expansion. I believe that Cedar Point will be receiving a big and unique coaster. But what does unique really mean? Everyone knows Cedar Point loves breaking records, but there are only so many records to break, and with limited space, it'll be hard to do. Also, Cedar Point would have to break a record in a skinny section of land. Let's quickly talk about the plot of land. In my opinion, the ride would reuse Corkscrew Station or have the station over by the Matterhorn area. Scrambler and Matterhorn would make perfect space for a queue and station. If this is the case, that means the layout can take up the out and back portion of Corkscrew and also the station area, and the empty area by Dragster. I think this would be perfect, but what would the ride be? Everyone's first thought is a GCI, but there isn't enough space. Planet Snoopy could be removed, with part of the layout going over there, but also Planet Snoopy is only a few years old. I think if any kiddie section would be removed, it would be Kiddie Kingdom, as that one is hardly used, is much older and outdated, and also is very close to Planet Snoopy. Let's eliminate the Planet Snoopy option. A GCI would be fine with an out and back layout, but as Beach Coast Studios said in our Fastlane vlog, a GCI would look much better and feel better in the back of the park near the older feeling rides with Steel Vengeance or Mine Ride. A GCI up front would block the views of the rest of the park and wouldn't really fit the modern area. Another option would be a B&M Flyer. This would be a great addition. We know Cedar Fair loves B&M, but again, B&M Flyers are more drawn-out rides. The pretzel loop would fit, but each element would have to be tight enough to fit in the space unless the ride is always over the paths, which is a hazard unless the park wants to add nets through the whole midway. So my final prediction is a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster similar to Hangtime or Shellraiser. These rides can be very compact and don't have to be the tallest thing in the world. We also know that Cedar Fair loves Gerstlauer with the addition of Hangtime, and it would make sense getting a Gerstlauer flat and coaster, with the flat being similar to Skyhawk at Canada's Wonderland. Cedar Point could go for the inversion record, but I feel like beating steepness would be much more feasible, as there is, once again, limited space. And my favorite thing about this prediction is that it could reuse the support structures of the corkscrews originally on Corkscrew. So while not the same coaster, it would still have the nostalgic factor to it. And though saying this is similar to Valraven, it really isn't. Valraven isn't focused on hangtime and inversions, it's focused on the drop. This ride, while it would have a steep drop, it wouldn't have the holding brake, it would instead focus on hangtime and inversions. Let's quickly talk the layout. I could picture the finale being right where Matterhorn was, with the station over by Scrambler. The finale could very easily just be a helix or even a quick roll. The turnaround, I feel, would be in the empty plot by Dragster or where Corkscrew Station turn was, and the rest of the ride would be inversions. These could possibly include a Cobra roll for a turnaround or maybe even a Batwing. I could even see a Norwegian loop, which is basically a reverse vertical loop, or a non-inverting loop after the drop, which would be placed where the current straight section of Corkscrew is. This ride would be a great facelift to the area and also one of the best coasters in the park. Also, the closest ride to this would be Tantrum, and that's 4 hours away. So my final prediction for rides is a flat ride near Power Tower and a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. Before we end the video, let's quickly talk about new buildings. This area is also severely lacking a restaurant. The restroom situation is currently fine, but a new restaurant usually accompanies a new area. This whole section only has a drink stand, from Backbeat to Auntie Anne's. I measured the corral and also the Skyride station, which fits a restaurant inside it, and it perfectly fits in the area near the hotel parking lot and the path with nothing. This would be a good place for a restaurant, as it's about halfway between Backbeat and Auntie Anne's. I don't know what food would be served, probably just typical amusement park food, but it would be cool to have something themed to a speedway as previously mentioned. So my final predictions is a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster with a flippy ride replacing Corkscrew, and also a restaurant with a new upgraded area. This would explain all the markers around Dragster that doesn't actually affect the Dragster construction. If you enjoyed this prediction video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment your thoughts for Cedar Point 2024 and have a great rest of your day.